what is our sound? So now here's Bebe saying, I'm going out, I'm doing, this is an Afrobeat song. This is a song that Wizkid would jump on easily. It's a song that Burna Boy would jump on easily. And there's no geography to it. It's just a dope tune. So I don't know what inspired you to get to this mind frame, knowing your rich history and where you've come from. I mean, obviously Uganda to Avaku, Congolese music and evolved. We've been evolving, but it feels like we stuck at some point. Maybe in the early 2000s, we got stuck. And maybe you top 3 contributed to that, unknowingly or knowingly. Now here you are saying, I'm going to flip the script. I don't know what inspired that.
Well, the inspiration comes from the pain. I feel the pain of the young people failing to cut through the 3 of us. Now, the cutting through is not specifically because of the 3 of us. It is specifically because of the fans that follow us. They don't allow to believe that probably there is a new Bebe that is somewhere stuck behind the old Bebe, a new chameleon that is probably stuck behind the real chameleon, a new Bebe that is probably stuck there. Because they love that. Well, I agree with them for one purpose. Bro, today, the issue of music or making a name or a nice song is easy. But those days it was so difficult. So the things that we went through to make the industry, as in, okay, we found an industry, I will not, underlook or underestimate the likes of Phile Bongo Utaya, Eli Wamala. Yes. No, I will not underestimate them. But then the times were changing at that time. So it was difficult for me, Jesse, to wake up in the morning and say we found even Congolese music as the #1 in the industry at that time. So we had to beat the Congolese music. The dancehall music was coming in from Nigeria, which we had to fight against. But then remember, we were so young. I mean, we were in the 22s, 23s. So we chose to run to Nairobi to learn because Nairobi, Kenya was a bit ahead of us musically.
Still is.
In Kenya, it was normal to wear dreadlocks. In Uganda, it was hell at that time. So you imagine a decision made by me, who at that time, of course, I'm a son of my father was a minister at that time.
Honorary man, yes.
In school. I'm expected to be talking about, that's why I kept reminding you about PCM. So I had PCM on my table, but I had dreadlocks in my mind.
A real rebel.
Yes. So the journey that the audience saw us go through, and the fights, and the way we've brought the showbiz and everything, the company is believing in us. The parents finally accepting that, these guys have created a line of employment. The government accepting all those things have come in the period where the 3 of us were struggling. And this is not just about the 3 of us. It is also about the other, genres, like all the Eagles production artists, or basically all the other artists joined us, the Julianas, the Irenes, the who. So, because we were at the front, it created an inferiority complex in the fans, that unless if we went and headed towards a certain direction musically, the artist to follow, then that's when the audience will believe. So for me, at this moment, actually a few years ago, about 5 years ago, our local artists started that conversation. They were complaining. They're saying those artists should rest. They should get out of the music industry. You remember that time?
Yes.
Up to last year. So. Of course, we can't leave the industry because that's our work. That's our job. That's all we know what to do. If you can transpose into politics like one of us did, but at the end of the day, after politics, I can guarantee you he'll come back on stage because that's what we are good at. So that's how I thought about and said, you know what, how best can I do it for my young brothers and sisters and for my children? How can I create an opening and believability, okay, so that so that we do what they can get in.
Which I believe is, I feel like, Bebe, you should have done this a bit earlier. I can't lie.
No, but it's not late at all.
It's not late. Don't get me wrong. It's not late. Don't get me wrong. My thing is, you guys have been the anchors of this industry in Uganda for a long time. Maba setting up bar Jetukidis. Obviously, other guys came and joined other
Actually,
artists.
East Africa wide.
East Africa, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so, obviously, Nairobi. I don't know. There's a thing about Nairobi that has defined who you guys are and and it continues to define people to this day. That's why you find Baraka is always in Nairobi, you know. And so there's something there's something that is maybe I don't know if it's spiritual or whatever. What happens in Kenya that sort of transforms the artist from Uganda, which is something that you guys unlocked back then.
It is just the level of expectations and the types of music that are accepted in both countries or the 5 or 6 countries in East Africa are different. In Kenya, this song can be accepted quicker and easily by the audience. In Uganda, we are going to have to teach our audience that, you know what, guys, relax ngeko kuchidandali soke tugende n'ekitunda worldwide.
Right.
Same. They have their locked up kind of sound. You can see that Diamond fights so much to rotate around and try to bring it in a bit, and then it's okay. You need to bring the audience sometimes a bit slower depending on where we are. But the good thing right now in East Africa, and most especially Uganda, is the audience is young. So they can take in what they love, and this is what they love. They need to boast around with latest stuff. They'll boast around with new glasses, latest fashion. They boast around with latest shoes. They boast around with latest cars. They go to the best hotels. They want to go out to the best, the latest artists that are trending worldwide. So they want to listen to the latest and best sounds in the world. So they want to see also their artists locally do compete on that same platform. So that's one of the main reasons why. Actually, I was being disturbed by the entry of Joshua Baraka. I love this. He's my family, blood relative. He's my nephew. He's doing something that I believe so many young students who have the art of music can do in schools.
Right.
But the problem is they don't have any confidence to support their decisions towards their families or towards life.
Right.
Because they're not seeing anyone who will support them. They're seeing Ugandans support vulgar music. They're not seeing Ugandans support the music that Baraka is doing. So I'm doing so many concerts in Uganda, and I'm not seeing Joshua Baraka being advertised.
Right.
Okay? So remember, a tree needs its roots.
Right.
And if you can imagine, every artist or every big person worldwide will always call and check in a country and check on the best artists in the country. So if you do not support those guys here locally and they just be going beyond our borders but not here, they will not achieve unless if they are understood and supported fully from home. Now, for me, that support is mainly to open the doors and to keep on, putting the music that these young people are going to do. Let me open that door and say, you know what, Bebe, it's a new dawn, it's a new era, it's a new Bebe, you go. Now, on top of me, once I make the clearance, then these other young guys can come on and then proceed. And then we can be competing on a man's table.
I find that very powerful because now, I remember I watched the interview this week where you said, I have gotten to a point where I have nothing to prove. And really and truly, Bebe, you have nothing to prove. You've done it all.
Let me say this again, bro. Surely I have nothing to prove. Not politically,
I love that.
Not economically, not musically, but rather the love.
That's massive. That's big.
I just want to see 10, 15 Joshua Barakas.
That's big. That's what I'm telling you. And
we don't have a female Joshua.
And I think that everybody, but they don't know how to.
But you know what? JR, let me tell you this. Also the decision to do this music is difficult because you have to make it with your parents. Today morning, parents to one of a friend of mine was writing to me, needs help with her daughter, just guidance.
Right.
Because she's scared to make the decision on behalf of, to accept to allow the daughter to proceed the way she sees things, the way she sees others, the way she sees the audience. So this is exactly what we're talking about in general. This will give confidence to the parents to support their own kids, support their daughters and sons in this era. Guess what? My own daughter, she's making 18 soon.
Right.
And I can guarantee you the reason why I openly did this album, and I'll do a second one and last one, is because I want to give my daughter an opening. I'm surely accepting, and I've accepted that Beata will do music.
Ah, nice.
She will take on my legacy. Of course, Alan will,
Nice.
but both of them will do. But Beata will join music soon after her next
Nice.
year of education. But we will start soon, and I'm putting up this whole team in East Africa and Africa so that
Yes.
if this album works, then
Yes.
we will-
It will work.
if-
From what we've heard, it will work.
Trust me, if it works, then we just place artists in this whole management thing and
Yes.
place finances behind it. Of course, it doesn't
Yes.
come cheaply, but
Yes.
there are parents who can afford $1 million, $500,000 to
Right.
create an artist who can
Right.
make millions of dollars in the future.
Right. Right. Maybe I find that very powerful because I like your approach. You're a man of you're a man who is also, I'd like to believe, inclined to the political landscape in a way.
Yes.
And we notice from what I've learned that the politics is predicated a lot on the grassroots,
Yes.
which is where most of us fail. Or could took anyone simu. Is it what they say the roots and one say like grassroots in the roots themselves. And I feel like that's a formula that that I feel like you maybe I'm hoping you're adopting. Number one, by fundamentally helping rewire how we should consume sound, because you're leveraging your influence to help us understand how these, like I'm saying, I'm Bebe, I've done it all. But guy, katika mbala into my perspective on Dala.
Yes.
Let me just introduce you guys to something different, but it's nice.
It's true. It's very true. And that's why I stuck to working with government. I had to stick with them so that I can teach and put these things in them. That,
Right.
hey, this is a full economy, first of all. That
Absolutely.
day-and-night economy. That's number
Absolutely.
one. Number two,
Yes.
there's no government in the world that can create even 40% of the jobs for its people, for its citizens.
Right.
So,
Right.
government has its opportunity to do two things: use sports and entertainment to create jobs for these young people as early as from nursery school.
Absolutely.
For example, I'm pushing for the Ministry of Education to look into the time, the time for education during the day. I mean, kids need to stop waking up at 5. They need to start waking up at 6 and then
That's
get
key.
to school by 8 and start lessons at 9 and then end lessons at 3. So
3.
if you start lessons at 9 and you end lessons at 3, after 3 o'clock, let all young people go for extracurricular activities. Now, within these extracurricular activities, that's when you have footballers, netballers, basketballers, and musicians and dancers practicing from the age of 3. Because a child can be identified, the talents can be identified by then. Look at my talent. It was identified when I was in primary, in nursery. I started singing at National Theatre when I was in primary 1. I used to come there. So today, I employ over 2,000 people who, basically, let me say over 1 million people benefit from my music. So you imagine if there's 1 million Bebe Cools. So it will be 1 million times 1 million people who have something to do, people who can benefit. So it has to begin from the education system to give time for development of talent, and talent becomes job. Now, connect that to reaching down on the ground, then definitely that would mean that people would not be biased because of politics. Because first of all, they are busy developing their talents, because they are very sure their talents will pay them and earn them a living. That's number one. One of the main reasons why we have that issue going around up and down is just because, people lack things to do. Of course, the country's economy has been down. The economy can grow very well and stable if everyone, nearly like 50 or 60% of the people, have something to do. Okay?
That's absolutely, that's right.
So you imagine if schools began competitively in all those aspects of sports and entertainment from the age of primary 1. means there's way too much activity, there's way too much practice, there's way too much singing, and then there's way too much content to consume. You get it? So, for me, my touch down there, locally as an individual, I will ask and I will humbly request that all the Ghanaian artists start focusing on music that is, consumable by the rest of the world. Don't worry about your language. You can use your language, but let's begin with the instrumentation. Secondly, please work with professional people. I know everyone can begin producing and everything, but if you know for sure, you know Bushington is there, you know for sure there's a certain producer called so and so, few kids in Nigeria. Please reach out, make negotiations. You can get, these people are normal people, they are fellow Africans, they are willing to work with us. So it is going to be so crucial also for the DJs, radio stations,
Absolutely. All the
stakeholders, hosts of night, okay, MCs, to push the people who are doing the new direction of music. Artists, nabo bajja biwulira kati tubikubire kerere bajja biwulira ate to tell you what JR, they do listen.
Maybe if you tell them naye action points wali ku sauti balina sauti naye wali ku touch tebakola kintu kyonna babera mbukokola tebagala sound nungi Baraka pops out bagamba Baraka wagenda kugwa omusajja Baraka yakatandika ne bali mbukwa bukokola from the entrance
naye kankubulireko JR tewali munsi, there's nothing easy in the world.
That's true.
Toyinza kubeerawo mu nsi nga tebakubye bukokola. Olaba ne bo bakuyimba ng'oli mu church bakuba obukokola. So ekyokuba obukokola, take it as natural and it has to happen. How you react is what is important.
Absolutely.
Nze ate ne ba DJ bennyini JR nabo twaka ba DJ nabo baakavaayo okubeera nti nabo beerwanyeeko bafune pe ennungi mu bifo amabaala gabenga gaba respectinga baba artists, most especially abayimbi they respect DJs. Now the DJs are nearly on the same level as artists.
And they're more united rather with DJs.
They're even more united.
That's true.
Yeah. So meaning, give them a good reason to play good music. They will play without asking for money. Because first of all, they get paid in their nights. So now, akakodyo kali wano, abayimbi, mwina okugenda ne mubeererawo ba DJs mu nights zaabwe. Okay, you can't do it all the time, but now bring back that relationship. Mukomyewo relationship eyo wakati w'aba DJ n'abayimbi. Muyambe. DJ nagamba nkolera kano, DJ ayinza okuba ne gig emu omwaka. N'akubira artist n'agaana. Kyokka nga DJ akuba 360 days a year. Okitegeera. Music ono anakkirira atya ku muntu wa bulijjo asembayo wansi. Ajja kukkirira nga tulina relationships ez'aba stakeholders bonna nga eri non-stop.
That's what I'm saying, Bebe. I feel like it's very... I like the role you're playing. That's what I'm saying, Bebe. I feel like it's very... Can you hear me? I'm hearing a bit of a response. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm hearing a bit of a response. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm hearing a bit of a response. Can you hear me? There's a bit of a feedback.
So come on, mute.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, better now.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Yes, Bebe, I'll say... Hello? Can you hear me now? Yes. Bebe, I'll see a bit of feedback. I don't know
feedback. There you are.
Are we in live now? There's a real issue with the video. Can I switch you off and take it back on?
So, anyway, we were having a bit of a relayed back sound. Of course, I was JR. We've had Sheila I would like to also invite the listeners, the normal fans, someone. Let me hear what you think about Circumference, what you think about the industry, and the reasons I'm giving, so that to be on the same page. It's important that you understand why we do the things we do, so that you don't misunderstand. Yes,
But wait, I wanted to finish up because man, this is a chance we get to. I know next Thursday we're having our podcast. That's number one,
and I'm
Bebe.
coming on your podcast, and I
On
can't
Thursday
wait.
we're having a podcast and saying no questions. I've been
Yes.
having questions for the past 2 years. I'm
Yes.
so gassed about having a chat with you, Bebe, in physically, because I see you as a disruptor. I like to call myself a disruptor. I equate you to a 50 Cent, a shapeshifter, a culture. Like you're shaping culture right now.
That's true.
I don't know. I feel like this album carries a lot of significance. It's more than just music. There's a lot of weight that it carries as it relates to changing how we perceive art as a country.
Yes.
And you're catering to a vast majority who are 15 and below, which is 80% of Ugandans.
Yes.
You're speaking, you're in higher places, you're in rooms that most of us might not get into, and you're fighting for our rights. You're fighting for the Bebe Cools of the future.
That's
There's
true.
so many Bebe Cools in the community that have no voice. Now they're relying on you
Yes.
subconsciously. The consumer is relying on you subconsciously. For now, we might be consuming Zemuita Kwencha. I mean, right now we're now regurgitating Kwencha. Like we're not accustomed to good music.
Yes.
Ogenda owida omuyimbi nga akwadde kati nga Baraka bagenda gamba ffe twagala Baraka twagala ate kino segenda mentioninga nyimba naye bagamba ffe twagala style weeti nogamba kati ffe nga Uganda tugenda linnya tutya level nga mwagala nyimba weziti naye kati olaga kati now here is Bebe releasing a song that I can actually put up there with the top guys in West Africa and South Africa, and you can call any judge, you know what I'm saying, whether it's a Grammys or whatever, and they try and analyze the instrumentation, the vocals, and they'll be like, this song is actually up there. So I feel like there's so much weight that your actions are carrying right now. I like the fact that you have nothing to prove, and that now it's Bebe, the Bebe who is a revolutionary, who is now out there to change how we think. You're using your platform to say, right, guys, listen, I'm not looking for you guys to give me handouts and manyawad. Right now, I have the leverage, I have the personality. Again, that's what like a person I would equate to a 50 Cent that would do and be like, you know what, I have enough going on for me. Now let me use my leverage to get out different Bebe Cools from the community to help them show the industry that we can actually thrive and compete with the best on the continent. We can digitize our work. And that's another issue I've also been seeing, Bebe, that recently here we had a masterclass where guys from Spotify and Boombox came to the country.
Yes.
And they were telling us about financial literacy and about branding and about playlisting. Nenga, things they were telling us were top notch. Nenga mbuza abayimba abajja ku masterclass.
I know.
So you find that Bebe, a lot of these things have a lot to do with integrate ya fe, the literacy. So osangantino abayimbi bo banji nenga tebaina literacy to be able to put their work to use in a way that can compete with the West Africans. West Africans, their actions are informed by their work. They put out a song that they know where it's going to go, how it's going to go. They know who to contact. They know how to get their work to transcend and go into the Americas and so on and so forth, because they're very informed. These people, you find producers who have studied in the UK, they got master's degrees and in this prestigious. So you find that there's a lot of value put into the art that is more than just releasing music. If it was just that, abayimbi between them Uganda, Boba Anja, bakola music, nae, asigala ku SoundCloud, asigala ku YouTube, nga ina views chikumi. I think a music wa tabu nyo. So you find that there's a whole different angle to the music that maybe you have tapped into with the top three. And I feel like those are some of the things that we might need, some of the nuggets that we might need you to help us on to understand how to monetize the brand, how to use the digital economy. Right now, you're speaking on TikTok.
Yes.
TikTok. Ku TV netugenda netufukamira netubasaba interview nebagamba to you as Bebe. Yes. Everyone is feeling that they're in touch with Bebe, which is something very powerful that the digital economy has created for us, right? So, Bebe, I feel like your album, I'm yet to listen to the whole body of work. I feel like there's a lot of significance that it carries. There's a lot of weight, more than just the music, more than just the sonics, and the vibrations. it's a story of change. It's a story of breaking the chains. Right? The irony is you have a big chain over there, man. Don't break the chain there. You know what I mean? But yeah, like the irony is spiritual.
Let me tell you something, Jia. When I did Love You Every Day,
Yeah.
those are so many years ago. Everyone appreciated. What surprised me is how much it has been appreciated all over Uganda.
Right.
So that was a message that was sent by the same audience we may blame. They were saying, if you do a nice English song, well produced, mastered, class video, we will take what you give us. So, but I also have to think about, we also have to think about the financial, implications here.
Right.
That's a song that probably costed me over $60,000. One song.
Quite a bit.
Because I had to fly, after doing the audio, which was within 5,000, that's okay. But I had to fly Clarence Peters to Kenya and to a salty lake somewhere that was dry. To be able, I had to carry a car on a car carrier for over 350 kilometers. And that car was taken out of a shop. That specific car wasn't, and so basically the input was a lot. So I wasn't going to, at that time, it's over 10 years ago, I wasn't going to invest, $50,000 in each song. So this is also an issue of time, 1 by 1 year, or time slowly. Because, our artists are young, they're financially constrained. We now not focus only on artists, but we also have to encourage government, because most of these artists that we want to, compete with have two advantages.
Right.
In the US, in the UK, they have advantages of already muscled up record companies.
Right.
Muscled up record companies that a record company, will not worry spending $500,000 or $1 million on an artist. It's you get it? Now you're competing with an artist who has been funded with cash of $100,000 or $200,000 to come up with an album, okay? And then you're Ugandan and you have 2 million in your pocket. 2 million Ugandan.
You can't compete.
It's about $500, dollars.
Dollars.
This is a scenario that I understand well and good. So, but how do we go about it? This is how we go about it. We have to teach our people that the next level of supporting music is by streaming.
That's true.
I have to download these streaming platforms on their phone.
That's true.
I know downloading a streaming platform. I tell you cheap. You can listen to your music on streaming and omuliriza. Omwezi mitwale ebiri gyokka. 20 to 30,000. Mitwale ebiri kwesa. Nobeera ng'owuliriza music w'abayimbi bo kati buli lw'owuliriza omuyimbi wo afuna ssente.
That's it. That's it.
Zasasulwa ezo ssente company bwezimuwa, then n'addayo n'akola music ono w'amaanyi n'alinnya ku class ate ezo tezibbibwa. Kati problem tetulina jjara yeeyo nti basupporters baffe babadde bakyatusupportingira mu disco.
Kituufu.
Bakyatusupportingira kukuwuliriza akayimba.
Kituufu.
Ate n'okudownloadinga n'akabeera nako ku
simu. Oba n'akadownloadinga ku YouTube.
Olina kusigala ng'okawuliriza ku platform kwennyini. Okitegeera? Kati eno album ngitaddemu jjara right now nsukka emitwalo. Jjukira tennafuluma. Nsukka emitwalo 2 right now. $1. Sawa eno ndi Johannesburg, Sandton City. Trip eno yokka eweza emitwalo 4.5. Ate nga ya wiiki emu. Jjukira n'akakola trips meka. Oba okitegeera. Naye kaakati Abannayuganda abantu ba East Africa okusupportinga projects nga zino kwe kuwuliriza ennyimba ezo. You have to support the artist by listening to streaming those songs so that the artists get paid what is worth the work you want to listen to. You cannot get the good work. You cannot listen to good quality songs, watch good quality videos if the artist cannot be paid by the company.
That's true. That's it.
So we need to support the companies by, Ebo, give me the platforms. we need to support the companies by, downloading the apps, Spotify,
iTunes,
iTunes,
Bookbox, yeah, Apple
Tidal,
Music, yes, Tidal,
YouTube.
right.
There's one more. There's another one that. So if Ugandans, Kenyans, Tanzanians, Burundians, Rwandese, Congolese, let's say all Africa, if we learn the culture, we must learn the culture of downloading those apps, subscribing to those apps. The subscription a year can be about $100. But
even less.
If you cut it per month, it could be just $10. So you can subscribe per month. Emitwalo 10 gyokka buli omwaka oba 12 omwaka naye omwezi emitwalo 2 oba gumu kitundu oba 3 depending. So bw'obeera nga ostreaminga music wa Joshua Baraka oba ostreaminga music wa Bebe oba ostreaminga music w'omwana yenna omupya ne waba omwana we yafunamu directly tebikyali nti just then ne badijje bafuna amaanyi to amplify the music. So we will have to go that way. JR, mwino okulwana nnyo okuyigiriza.
That's what I'm telling you, the significance of this body of work that you've put together. And in the media run that you're going to put around, obviously, like I think 2 years ago, nagenda ku radio, nga twogera ku bino into streaming platforms. But you find that most people don't know what even the streaming platforms mean and what they're there for. When we explain,
we know bivunula Uganda.
So katulina okudda ku campaign nga abantu bavunula ensonga lwaki beetaaga okufuna app zino ne significance yazo ziyamba omuyimbi okukulaakulana ziyamba omuyimbi zimuwa leverage when the streaming numbers go up and they get playlisted and so on. So I feel like this is what the digital economy is doing for us now. It's liberating us, but yet there's a bit of a gap as it relates to
maybe ninaka idea maybe also twali kutte amaduuka gonna agatunda amasimu because jukira omuntu bw'agula essimu bagisumululaawo ne bagimutandikira,
right.
Maybe twali kozeyo posters ezina platforms zino ne tuziteeka ne tukola deal n'abantu abatunda amasimu omuntu yenna bw'agula essimu bw'ogimutera